Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. The 3rd of March. Something feels wrong with my setup. I don't know what the deal here is. Anyways, to the charts. Well, yesterday... Oh my gosh, where is it? Yesterday, not such a good day. I mean, well, we were going to come back from that anyways. But, they came back in the night and then it looked pretty good going, into the open. Bit of a dip return, but then they dumped it going into the close. Now, again, overnight, they retraced that and now they're dumping it going into the open. So, I don't know, that 3903 is turning into some significant resistance. You can see the index is moving around a little bit. I am seeing some difference here between ES and the small caps. Treasuries over here increasing again. So, yeah, we got a bit of a recovery, but overnight today, not so great. Coming down a little bit. Oil might be pulling back a little bit. So OPEC is saying, hey, we can increase supply. There's plenty of demand here, and we don't want price to get too high too quickly. So it looks like oil is kind of chilling out a little bit. Gold just taking another dump overnight here. Silver. I mean, silver does still look better than gold, but come on. It might be a good buy location here. Maybe they, especially if they go a little bit lower, I might want to buy some more. I don't know. Copper looked really good yesterday. I don't know. China's kind of cooling off a little bit, but I think copper should still be strong. Copper looks like the strongest commodity out there. The dollar got whacked pretty good yesterday, but it's trying to come back. I don't know. It's trying to come back. Probably, and one of the bigger movers overnight today, Bitcoin up 5,200. So that was a pretty, from 47 to 52. They seem pretty determined here, man. I have to say. The problem is they've used so much leverage to get here. It's not going to last very long. Anyways. Could go higher. Don't care. Now then, good morning, Bill. How are you? Oh, no win this morning. Oh, well, that's sad. That's okay. Got the robots on here, though, so that's all good. I'm looking for... What am I looking for? Oh, yes. News. Okay, so we did get ADP employment change where we were looking for an estimated 177, but we got 117, so less than expected. We're going to get Canadian building permits here at the bottom of the hour, but one of those lighter days got ISM numbers at 8. Oh, Uzi, you're there. It's good. We're okay. Uzi's always there. Uzi will never abandon us. Oh, I shouldn't say that because someday. So I understand. Listen, I have a secure attachment style now. I understand that at some point Uzi might have a hurricane or something crazy like that and may not be here, and that's okay because there will be other people. There will always be people. So, watching from the shadows. Oh man, I don't know what the deal is, but my setup just feels wrong. Everything feels wrong. This is definitely my ADHD showing through. Oh, look at that. Candle is now starting to look a little gray. Oh, except for that it's a turn candle. Ugh. I mean, if that turned and went lower, that would be so bad. Would be so bad. Well, I mean, maybe it wouldn't be the end of the world, but they're gonna need to recover that, or it's gonna be ugly. Hurricane or economic devastation forcing me back into the coal mines. Two things that could lead me to me consistent. Yeah. The coal mines. I was just reading an article where these I don't want to call, I mean, I want to call them loonies, but I probably shouldn't call them loonies. But these guys saying, we in order to get rid of everybody's dependence on coal, we just need to cancel all ongoing coal projects today. Okay, doesn't sound like a good idea. So many people trying to come into our Discord and send invite links, and I just, it's so frustrating. Coal mines was a metaphor. Oh. Sounds better than back into the retail sector. Yes, it does. I bet you that working in a coal mine really sucks, but maybe it would be fun to try it for a day. Okay, we get these Canadian numbers here in a second. Make sure I got my robots on. Yes, I do. So yesterday, I crossed one of the items on my list off. I went and I tested Gabby by setting an expiration time on her order. I was surprised to find that even if I gave it 30 minutes, that almost halved the number of trades. But that other half of trades weren't really worth that much. So it improved our win rate a little bit. I'm wondering if I combine it with level 2 and everything, that it could make it better. But anyway, so I'm excited to see how she works today. And then we made that change. We moved her over to a run range chart. So that should make her a little bit more accurate. But overall, she's looking really positive. I worked for Public for 15 years. I mean, sure, it's easy to laugh at having to work at a grocery store, but management there is 70, 80K a year job with profit sharing and full benefit. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Man, sometimes I hear that. I mean, I maybe I shouldn't say how much exactly I make from working in tech, but you know, it's pretty good. And here in Utah, it's really good. But on TikTok, people are always being like, you know, that top engineers at Google make $200,000-$300,000 a year, and I'm like, well, I want to make $300,000 a year. But then I'm like, but how much of that is California? And because, you know, when I started working for Goldman, once you got the bonus, it was about equal to what you would make if you were at Microsoft or Google. Okay, so they are selling off of that. I'm so kind of surprised. 8 spot 2 versus estimated 2 spot 5. I mean, that's a positive, very positive number, actually. Lots of building permits in 10% almost. 8.2, that's a lot, but they're selling off here. I don't know why. UK plans 295 billion of 2021-2022 bond sales. Gotcha. Got it. So in Florida, Publix is the quickest way to retiring a millionaire with less than a high school education. Is how, just by saving it all up, or Rand Paul, Democrat, class warfare wealth tax will destroy our country. Yeah, would. Man, it's so interesting to me. Is interesting the right word to use in that context? I don't know. But when I go on Reddit and I read what they say about Warren's bill, it is just astounding to me. Because I know that 50% of the country like realizes this is a bad idea. But there are some people at the top that just think this is the greatest thing ever. Nobody can ever be a millionaire. They'll have to sell off all of their assets. Ugh. And then when you go and sort by controversial, the controversial comments aren't conservatives stepping up and being like, nah, you guys are wrong. Man, this is taking a dump. This is a real dump. This is 10 points now here in the past 3 minutes. Well, if you want it, it takes you about 2 to 5 years to manage department. Pay pushes 70 to 80. If over 100K, you manage a store, they give you extras. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Ouch. It's like that aggressive sweep still out there, huh? It looks like Jay is going to try and fade the move, but I don't think it's going to work out for him. Maybe, actually, he might get it. He might get it, actually. Oof. Nope. Straight loser. I got friends from my bag boy days in the 90s that are loaded today. Managing stores and districts is crazy. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think because, I have some more money to invest, and I kind of understand now some of the, rich people, should I say, rich people problems, like, you have this money and like, where do you invest it? Well, I could put it all in the S&P 500. I don't think that's the place to put it all. Then you could put it in real estate, but oh man, have you seen the real estate market? It's crazy. Well, I guess everybody is leaving the inner cities and moving out into the suburbs, so that's. But man, it is nuts so. I'm sure glad that I bought a house when I did. I remember saying, if I had saved up a little bit more, probably could have bought a nicer house. But then I'm like, yeah, but then I would have to deal with buying in this real estate market. Oh, kill me. It's terrible. And I want to rent properties or something like that. So let's see here. There's the stock market. There's rental properties. I could do bonds, and that wouldn't be very, you didn't get very much for that. What else can I do? I could open up a business. That's what I could do. I could open up a new business. I don't think that I would be good at opening up a cleaning business like Uzi's got. No. You know what? My mom loves cleaning. She should start a cleaning business. She does taxes now for a guy. She's like was surprised when she started doing that, but she's really good at it. She's good at organizing things. But I don't know. We've talked about making a snow cone stand. I guess we could do some of that to build a snow cone stand. But we would need all of it for that. Small businesses hard. Democrats don't like us. Yeah, it's like they just want you all to stay poor. I'm looking at this like if you noticed, okay, when you go to, like TikTok, any kind of social media platform like that, Twitter, it seems to me like there is just a ton of rich people out there telling you to buy revenue generating assets. And I'm like, why do they want people to buy those things so bad all of a sudden? I mean, I've always known that was the thing, but like now it's like everybody knows about this. And they're out there in the real estate market buying all the things. I'm like, is it because they want to be out? Like, I just get suspicious, We're not tech sector billionaires, so they put the obstacles. Like, yeah, right. That's exactly it, dude. Like, man, I'm just thinking here. I'm having a hard time. Like, I want to keep an eye on Twitter. I want to keep an eye on OBS. I don't want to turn my head all the way over here. I want to keep my head over here. How can I do this? I could get another screen and I could move it here and read you guys there. And then I'd be looking up here like this and then down, and then I wouldn't have to move my head. I could just move OBS over on the screen a bit more and then have TweetDeck on the other side of that. So I don't read TweetDeck nearly as much. Ugh. I don't like it, but I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to do it. Like, I don't remember having my head tilted so much, you know? But it's starting to get to me. Don't know why. My brother-in-law is trying to start up his small company, but he lives in a blue city, so it's like 3 times as annoying as it was for us in our red county. Oh, so do you think that Florida's going to change? Like, Florida was always kind of a swing state, and there was definitely areas of it that were very, very red and areas of it that were very, very blue. But it seems like that Floridans are really happy with the way that their governor has handled things, and that they're becoming, they were already pretty Republican, and they're just becoming even more Republican. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? It seems like Florida is changing and getting more red. Maybe these screens aren't tilted as much as they were. Okay. I think I wiggled the cord loose there a little bit. Oh, Florida will be blue eventually. The shift will start after the $15 minimum wage kicks in. That's going to collapse our economy, and the Blues will have a solution for it. DeSantis just barely won our last. Okay. So you think not, huh? Well, I tell you what, Jay, he took 2 there. He was able to make up some losses, though. This monitor is, when I move it, it acts up. I'm so ADHD today, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, is it like done for? What the hell? Uh, that's terrible. Hold on. I think the power just got jostled a little bit. And hey, cool. Probably keep a red legislature for a while, but eventually we'll all be California'd. Well, I don't know if, well, it'd be interesting to see how the minimum wage, but they're not going to increase the minimum wage to 15. They can't do it. They're not going to be able to do it. I'm going to flip this back around because I find this annoying. It's actually quite entertaining to watch, if I'm honest, as a Republican. Watching the Democrats be all, oh, let's do this crazy thing and this crazy thing, and then realize how extreme it actually is and that they can't pass it. Nathan, I am new here. How do I make use out of this live stream? Do you trade futures? So here's how you make use of this live stream. You sit back and you do your own thing and you enjoy the show, because I don't want you following my trades, and I had to do my own thing, and you should do your own thing. There's a lie in the industry, in the trading industry, that the way to success is to follow somebody else and learn everything that they know, and that's how you be successful. It's bullshit. You have to do the work yourself. You have to find the edge yourself. I can help you do that, but this is mostly for fun. Oh, we voted to pass it here in Florida on the state level because we're idiots. What are you at right now? In 2026 will be it. Well, yeah, I mean, that's like in line with what it should be anyways, probably. Because you weren't like one of those $7 minimum wage states, right? I think that you were already at 10, right? Oh, you're at 865? Oh. Okay, maybe that is a pretty big, in 5 years, that is a pretty big increase. One of the things that I find just mind-boggling is like, okay, states that have a higher minimum wage have a higher cost of living. Like, do people not realize You'd be hard-pressed to find a company that pays that little, right? Exactly. Nobody pays that little. It seems to me, well, I don't know. I always thought that the minimum wage was just there to prevent abuse, like to stop companies from doing like basically slave labor. It turns out that FDR really did intend it to be like everybody that works should have a living wage. But if it is to prevent abuse, it seems to me that it's not necessary. Most companies pay higher than what the minimum wage is. But it also seems to cut out certain jobs. There are certain jobs that I could do that would be like a 1 to 2 hours a day sort of a thing, that would just be like, not a real job, just kind of like a friendly thing, like come over and help me with my live stream, that I would be spending less than $15 an hour on, that simply can't exist. We start at $11 in our company. He does a cleaning maid company. If you don't know your ass from your elbow, our highest employee makes $16.50 and our average is about $13. Well, there you go. Police disarm pipe bomb at Iowa polling site. Wait, they're doing polling in Iowa right now? Europe sales of new bonds exceed 400 billion in record time, and Zero Hedge's comment is at least that whole record debt problem was fixed. Cleaning, there you go. That's the right word. Cleaning services. There's the thing. I wish that I don't think I like marketing. That's the thing. As it seems to me, like to really get people's attention in marketing, that you got to say things that I don't want to do. You know what I mean? At least in the area of trading, it feels like that. But it's like if you start your own business, you kind of have to understand marketing. Okay, well, they've extended losses, but there is quite a bit of fight here. Jay tried taking a bunch of trades there, but just got demolished. J2 didn't take any. So that, and this is exactly the kind of situation that I made that change for. So, and when I was doing it the other way yesterday, it was better. So I'm feeling good about the changes to Jay. I'm feeling good about those changes. Our state is littered with small businesses, though: cleaning services, pressure washing, landscapers, the big three. Pressure washing is a thing? You can make that a good amount of money pressure washing, can you? Ooh, maybe I should get into that. Pressure washing, that sounds fun. This was a dump. It really fell off, didn't it? When I visited a buddy in New Jersey, it blew me away how unlandscaped it is. Here we have companies mow the highway medians and everything. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's Florida. I mean, if you didn't, it would be like a jungle. It would grow over. A little different when it's up north. You just get tall grass and it's fine. Here in Utah, we don't have those anymore. Like, we've had to expand the roads so many times and so quickly that there's not a whole lot of room left, and we took out the medians in many places, and it's just a big wall. Well, somebody here in Discord is suggesting that the move has to do with the ADP payrolls miss. I mean, that would make sense, but you would have thought that they would have started dumping a lot earlier than that. I don't know. Well, there was a dump going into the payrolls miss, but it's just like after the Canadian numbers, then they really started going down. But pressure washing, yeah, crazy money in that. The mansion people pay boatloads of money to have their stuff washed. Millions of miles of vinyl fencing and it all turns green. It turns green? Wait, why? How does it turn green? I mean, I had a vinyl fence, but it's never had a, well, I mean, my mom would clean it, but oh man, the people that bought my old house where I lived as a child, not not taking very good care of it. No, sir. Yeah, bro, algae, if you have trees and rain. Oh. So you have to wash off the living stuff, I guess. Now that I have moved the screen, I think it's better, but it's kind of thrown me off. Maybe I could just do this.
Uzi Knesset says I have one big oak in the backyard so that whole side of my vinyl fence turns green lol.
Can you grow evergreen trees in Florida?
Sebastian Newman says why in the heck did we get that move down?
I'm not sure, dude. I'm kind of wondering the same thing. So we were just saying, so keep in mind there was a employment numbers, the ADP number at 815, and we did move down ahead of that. And then we kind of went sideways for 15 minutes. Then the Canadian number came out. That was just the housing number, but that number came out, and then after that we started diving pretty hard. And I wouldn't say that there's like a ton of volume for it, but it's about what it should be for this time of day. Overall, though, it's just a little bit surprising. And let's see here. Oh, I'm seeing Dave Portnoy, but you guys heard about Dave Portnoy's new ETF?
Uzi Knesset says what kind of evergreen tree? I mean, isn't evergreen more of a genre? We have a bunch of trees that stay forever green.
Oh, did I just say evergreen? I meant redwood. Can you grow redwoods in Florida? Because I know that they need a lot of moisture, but it's mostly a West Coast thing, right? Because I was over at the tree store, the tree store yesterday, and they had some redwoods. It seems to me like if I was going to have redwood here in Utah, that you'd have to give it like its own sprinkler.
I don't know. I don't believe so.
Apparently, it's a lot of water to feed a redwood tree. But they are so cool looking. Like the leaves and everything, they're so pretty. The yields are moving down. That's not good. Wait, when did the yields start moving down? Ah. We're getting down movement across asset classes here. I'm feeling like I haven't seen a spot where I really feel confident in taking a trade. Usually I'm not doing anything until like the 7 o'clock, but they might try and retrace some of this. Zero hedge. Gold is dead. Move on. Billionaires bet on Bitcoin. Draper sees $5 million price. Oh my gosh.
Will Jutsum says feeling pretty comfortable with my short position on the NASDAQ today.
Oh wow. So I have to say, that pattern right there in Bitcoin doesn't look too good. That's not what you want to see if you're in Bitcoin, but maybe it's not such a big deal. Maybe it's not such a big deal. We are coming into, well, I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, okay. Like the treasuries seem to be backing off a little bit. We'll see if J2 gets along in here. Well, the ISM numbers suddenly become a lot more interesting with the way that we've been moving this morning, don't they? Now, thinking back on this thing that I just saw Zero Hedge tweet about, they're saying gold is dead, it's all in Bitcoin now. So if Bitcoin crashes, is the best hedge against that gold? Is gold the way to play the Bitcoin crash now? Seems like that might be a good setup. Lots of jiggles about EU raising yields overnight.
Says gold mining stocks.
Yeah. Well, like I think silver's been performing better, so like we could buy more. I still have my position in silver, but we could buy more.
Влад Столяров says nothing is over, buy gold anyway.
Will Jutsum says I bought Barrick that I mentioned yesterday.
Yeah. But what'll happen if Bitcoin crashes? Does silver take off? Well, this trade doesn't look like it's working. No, sir. Whew. I don't know how I caught that one, but okay. Zero Hedge says futures tumble as market increasingly susceptible to gamma sucker punch. Ahead of today's very disappointing ADP print, which badly missed expectations of 200K by nearly half, coming in at just 117K, the whispered number was far higher, somewhere in the 300 to 400K, to be expected following JP Morgan's latest prediction that the US will add 675,000 jobs per month for the next year, which in turn pushed yields sharply higher ahead of the print. Alas, it was not to be, and yields quickly reversed on the far worse than expected ADP report. But while as recently as last week, such a poor economic print would have been sufficient to push risk assets higher, especially with yields lower today that was not the case, and instead futures tumbled as soon as the flashing red ADP headline hit the tape. Could it be that we have transitioned away from a bad news is good news markets regime to a clear-cut bad news is bad news, and why? One answer comes from our friends at Spot Gamma, who remind us.
Says you think the market will rise today?
I don't think so, but I took a scalp there long. There seems to be this rather strange dynamic in the markets where buyers stall out at 3,900 and light put buyers step in. Specifically, what happens is the markets shake out, VIX spikes, and those short duration put holders close immediately, which fuels a retest of 3,900. Or as the put it best, It's as if the SPX return was simply a function of volatility spasms. Okay. Making matters worse, despite yesterday's plunge in implied volatility beneath the market's hood, realized volatility remains very high, especially since high beta holders like Apple, Tesla, Amazon all appear to be breaking down while the S&P holds flat. Meanwhile, despite volatility being very high, downside hedging is weak at best. Spot Gamut's punchline: traders seem to be using puts as alpha generation mechanisms rather than hedges. Of course. And so, with the S&P stubbornly unable to rise above 3,900, preventing dealers from turning long gamma, the bottom line is that the positive gamma refuses to materially build around the current SPX price levels, and that positive gamma does exist, requires a push up into 3,950. As a result, the market's unable to hold light resistance over 3,900. Spot gamma is growing quite concerned that markets are increasingly susceptible to a quote-unquote sucker punch, and if today's bad news is any indication, even a small tremor could unleash the next market puke. I don't know if it's... I think that was a gold company that they were talking about. I think if I was going to get into the metals, I'd rather be in silver, though, right now, yeah? I don't know. AG or PSLV. When the market opens, we'll go and we'll look at see what the options market are saying about gold and silver. Because things look so bearish over there, and I can't say that this is like it's doing something that makes me really feel confident about a bottom or anything. So, you know. ECB's Weidman size of yield moves not particularly worrisome. That's really weird. I've never seen action like that before in the bonds, and I find it really disconcerting that none of the central bankers really think it's a big deal.
Will Jutsum says yeah, Barrick Gold. It's a profitable company, the stock is undervalued. I'm certainly not betting the house on it though.
Oh, might be worth adding to our list. I could be dead wrong. I find it so strange that the market is so in on this gold is bad right now, selling golds. Doesn't make much sense to me. It seems like the fundamentals are in favor of gold and silver increasing and having a really good bull run. So when I see a situation like that, it's either got to be one, that I'm dead wrong, or two, that it's a really good buying opportunity, right?
Влад Столяров says у Юриззи Softman and Urahista Olas, JPOW.
The way that he talked, the way that you said that, I barely understood what he was saying. Where is this
Влад
soft
Столяров
man?
says Thursday.
Thursday. What was Thursday? Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the ETF. So David Portnoy has gotten on board with this ETF that is going to hold like the 20 most talked about companies on social media. And I'm really interested in this because it is a strategy that has been generating alpha this year. But if you put it into an ETF, how do you manage that? Like when it changes, you're always buying in late. Like, you know what I mean? It could be hard to manage. And I think that your execution costs would be really high as well, don't you think? So I'm interested to, I bet you, well, there's so much talk. I say, on TikTok, I saw all the big creators were making a thing about it. I am going to bet that there's going to be some pretty significant inflows into the ETF at the beginning. And it goes live tomorrow, Thursday. But after that, I kind of am like, you know? Like, I don't How would you manage that? On Friday, Kings of Leon will release their new album titled When You See Yourself in the form of a non-fungible token NFT, becoming the first band to ever do so. Well, putting your music and distributing it as an NFT may be a thing. But these things like CryptoKitties, though, are stupid. I mean, I don't know. CryptoKitties is pretty cool, but like spending tons of money on them, like them being worth a lot, is stupid. And what's happening is people are buying their own stuff to generate hype. It's just the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest thing, guys. Oh, Cloth Tiger now sticking around. Okay. We love you, Cloth Tiger. You're great. I just do +1. Yeah. Ooh, and we'll add a sad face. What the hell? If I try and put in like a sad face, it says no emoji found. And then it shows me the exact emoji that I'm looking for. Oh, man. Okay, well, they've really chilled out now, so maybe that impulse is over.
Gesicht.
What did she say?
Vlad Stolярov says March 5th half Monday.
Jesse Rockwell says düsteres Gesicht. Jesse Rockwell says hahaha.
I don't know what that was. I guess she reads the real word for the smiley.
Vlad Stolярov says улыбка. Vlad Stolярov says Gudvibes.
Oh, why doesn't yours show it? You need to use the actual emoji code and not the... Oh, well, that one works. Why doesn't... that's so weird.
Sebastian
That's so weird.
Newman says S. East Lustig.
Vlad Stolярov says IDNT Daimahis on my keyboard.
Yeah, you have to go and like copy
Jesse
them.
Rockwell says Geist Außerirdischer.
It is. She reads out the...
Vlad Stolярov says IT text.
If you put in like the actual emoji code. I'm just
Jesse
curious. No,
Rockwell
go ahead.
says
Have
I'm
fun with
just
it.
curious at this point.
Chat isn't... The YouTube chat isn't serious. We're supposed to leave the serious chat to Discord, right? We should probably get back to that, but it's like Discord is so much... Or sorry, YouTube is just so much more active. Okay, look at this. That Bitcoin chart's not looking so hot. That is... Oh, that right there. Okay, I'm not saying that like that's predictive or anything, but something that I definitely read as a negative sign usually, that many chartists read as a negative sign. And now that they're kind of getting below those places, like probably they retrace at least to there. And with the way that it rose back up and everything, if they come back down to this lower area, it could be really ugly. So, and given the overall mood of the markets.
Blunt420 says, and what do we call that candle formation?
Oh, what do they call? There's like different. I think there's different names for it, but I don't know what they call the candle formation. I haven't. I don't know if this is one that they test. Is it? Let's see here. The problem is that it can be a couple of different things based on.
Blunt 420 says 3 black crows.
I don't know if that's quite what I would. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, yes, but that's not the spot that I'm talking about. What the pattern that I'm more interested in is you get a very large candle up, and then you get the next bar a very large candle down. And they're outsized candles next to each other. Three black crows, we've tested that one, and it's not consistent. This one, I don't know how consistent it is. All I know is that I've seen a lot of reversals where that shows up. But naturally, it would tend to happen at like a blow off top, right? But it could happen other reasons too. Could also, if based on how it quantized it, it could end up being like this, right? Would be the same thing as a inverse hammer. But in inverse hammer as a bullish signal has been really effective over the past year. So I guess it probably isn't very predictive, is it?
Blunt 420 says bearish engulfing candle.
Yeah, maybe. So this was one that, so there was the T3 guys, because they kind of are really into that particular outside and inside bars. And one of the things that I had a really hard time with when I was trying to backtest that whole thing was, okay, how do you decide that it was a big bar? Like there's lots of outside bars, but how often do you have an outside bar where this bar is really big and that's important, Because they would say like, okay, you had a really good run up and then you have a doji. You have an inside bar or something like that and you buy it on continuation. And I was like, okay, but how do you define that it was a really good run up? Like programmatically, how do you define that and backtest it? And it wasn't clear enough to test it. Well, what do you know? Brandon made some money on the short, and now he's making some money on the short again. Redeeming himself from his terrible performance yesterday. Well, they moved back down. I was kind of thinking, oh, let's take a short, but 10-year yield at high of day. Which is kind of getting interesting to me.
Block sell.
Yeah. Oh, I was not the only person thinking that right there. Holy crap. Yeah, that's gonna lead to some bearishness over here. Nope, that one was bad.
Влад Стальяров says Bonjour gentlemen. Lord Bogdanov Crab 17 was a stunning success. Since when were you under impression that Crab 17 was over?
Crab 17, what? Dear HFTs, please provide some liquidity in treasuries which are puking and depth of zero. It's not that bad,
Vlad Stальяров
Zero
says
Edge.
Bitcoin meme.
It's not that bad. See, I'm glad that I took just the one. It was unusual for me to do that, but I'm glad that I took just the one. It's a Bitcoin meme? Oh, okay. Meme. For the longest time, I didn't know how to pronounce that word, and I thought it was a meme. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Google plans. This is the Wall Street Journal. Google plans. Oh, stop
Uzi
Twitter
Knesset says
speed.
Meme.
Google plans to stop selling ads based on a person's browsing history and will no longer use ad tools that track individuals across websites. Bullshit. No way they're not. What? How is that? How can they do that? They'll only show the ads based on what the content is then? Targeted ads are huge. Like YouTube, they're not going to make
Vlad
as much.
Stальяров says Google Trek is everything private browser event.
Will Jutsum says that's Google's entire business?
I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked. Okay, we got to pull this up, man. That is so bad for the business. It seems to me like that would be a really bad for the business. How can that be? What's the difference between Goog and Google? Googl? Is that a thing? Alphabet? Are those like the preferred shares or something? They're the same. Okay, Goog shares have no voting rights, while GOGL shares do. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, they're down overnight.
Vlad Stальяров says the shares are owned by insiders and don't trade on the public markets. It is those shares that are still in the possession of Brin, Page, Schmidt and a few other directors.
Gotcha. Usually it's like there's like dot A and dot B, so that was kind of weird. Zero Hedge today's Gamma Magnet 3900. See, they seem to think that they keep pointing out this
Well, Jutsun
3900
says
Gamma.
advertisers will still be able to target their own databases of consumers through their own first-party data on Google properties, such as Google's search results pages and YouTube.
But that just means that, like, if you're on YouTube, you can target based off of what they've been watching on YouTube, but not from elsewhere. Maybe it's not as big of a deal as my initial gut check impression, but that just seems I'm surprised they can do that. They've made a lot of money doing that. I don't think they should do it, but
Vlad Stальяров says Katy Woods was on front page yesterday to exit her positions.
Kathy Woods was on front page to exert her positions. What? Mark is down today, by the way. I am so glad that I only took one tick. I've seen that so many
Влад
times.
Стальяров says saying Shevas Abuayo. Vlad Stальяров says CNBC Pompetjo.
Oh, I see. When it came down there, and I'm like, okay, I want to hit into that because they're
Vlad
being
Stальяров
aggressive.
says in the morning.
And then it'll go down like one tick, and then that one tick doesn't continue. So I'm like, okay, fine. One tick was a good trade. Zero Hedge noticing FX hedge treasuries are now more attractive than bunds and JGBs. We've been in this environment before, and it's supportive to the treasuries. Think that the equities will recover back up to 3,900?
Big Toasty says hi hash.
Влад Стальяров says thank you looking like falling which pattern 4 ho. Влад Стальяров says 1278 пивот.
He reads the numbers out. That's funny.
Влад Стальяров says 12778.
BMO, if COVID disappeared tomorrow, then there's too much stimulus. If the economy is still in lockdown on New Year's Eve 2022, then there's not enough stimulus. I think that's highly unlikely.
Big Toasty says Bliat.
Yeah. Use, if you want the commands to
Vlad
change your
Stальяров says
accent.
how do I disable accent?
Will Jutsum
Just-
says looks like Google are making this change before the EU forces them to make it.
I'll change it for you, Vlad.
Vlad Stolyarov says how do I disable accent?
There you go.
Vlad Stolyarov says thanks.
Okay. Hell, I kind of felt like I was a little FOMO there, but there was a good low liquidity area for us to go through.
Jessie Rockwell says I shall live forever as a German woman in this chat.
Dude, the German voice is really great, though, isn't it? It's so good.
Vlad Stolyarov says ahaha.
You know, the other one that's really good that you guys haven't been using is the Chinese
Vlad
one, right?
Stolyarov says sexy.
The China mail, we haven't had the Chinese propaganda in here in a long time.
Jawad Hamidi says haha.
It was really funny, man. Okay, so they're right at the ATR stop right now.
Jawad Hamidi says hey HWLLO.
HWLLO. Hello.
Jawad Hamidi says hello.
You can also do the UK accent. Some of you guys
Vlad
have the
Stolyarov
UK
says
accent.
something weird about 4
man.
a.m. Globex trading. Big Toasty says how are the Bodhi doing? Vlad Stolyarov says rocket was 48 now 37 that pump stock.
Okay. So did you see they sold it down and they stuck a big offer on it? Anyway, Bitcoin's still not looking so hot, but they're
Big
above
Toasty says
5,000.
bots
So.
asterisk.
How are the bots doing? Well, J1 is just doing terrible and has lost $50 on micros. And J2 hasn't taken any trades. So that filter seems to be effective. I think I will
Jitsum
keep
says,
it.
ooh, can I have a British accent, please?
Yeah, well, let's see here. Ding, ding, ding. How does it do? Oh, yeah, it does work. Just some. UKM.
Vlad Stolyarov says not now 1 minute left.
Will Jutsum says, ooh, can I have a British accent, please?
There you go. You can also type exclamation point info and it will give you the commands to change it yourself.
Will Jutsum says, all right, governor, up the apples and pears, me old darling.
Oh man. Change the title of this to Chat Has Too Much Fun. Chat has too much fun with text to speech. Okay, well, here we are at the open. Looks like some buying pressure coming through on the open there, but it's awfully wow. This is actually a lot of activity on the open. So there's still some big offers in the way, but look, they're gonna eat through him. Yep. And then a little bit of a slip. Usually when they go through a big order like that, there's a little bit of a slip through it. So I like it. Come on. There we go. So I'm going to try and do what we did the other day. Oh, look at that pushback. Oy. Well, whoever it was that was trying to prevent me from getting to my first target, you failed because I got filled. Screw you.
Big Toasty says there is always a seller.
Right. I mean, look
Big
over
Toasty
here.
says last week's.
Look over here on the delta on that. That was a pretty aggressive sell.
Vlad Stolyarov says SSYS minus 13.23%.
That might have been
Stupid
like
bot
one
says
individual
HHH.
stock, though, you know? Like maybe
Vlad
one
Stolyarov
stock.
says earnings SSYS related. Big Toasty says who is selling market 1,000 lots or 2,000. Jawad Hamidi says are you long?
Yeah.
Vlad
Do you see-
Stolyarov says 3D printer.
Do you see this column over here? That basically tells you whether I'm long or short. How much money I make at each price. So if I get my target, I'll make 70. I think I should pull it though, don't you think? Like, I think we're gonna go back up to 3,900.
Jesse Rockwell says that EVIX must awaken.
The FX must erwachen. Okay, so there's the target right there. Read that one again.
Jesse Rockwell says that EVIX must awaken.
The AVIX.
Vlad Stolyarov says bring in the hammer.
Right. Look, the Bitcoin is up now. It is mirroring the S&P 500. That is concerning.
Jawad
To me.
Hamidi says what's your tragedy?
So if we're gonna try and really swing this, I think that 3,900 is a possibility for today. But I should be really cautious about that. There was some very bearish action before the open. That bearish action may come back in and make things difficult. But 3870 was the first spot. And that's basically gives me 10 points on the trade, right?
Vlad Stolyarov says watch 74 I guess again.
But look, there's quite a bit of volume trading up there towards the top of this.
Vlad
So.
Stolyarov says in 52 if they dump suddenly then under 40.
So when you get those sweeps, I'm wondering, is that somebody trying to push
Bill
the index
777
around?
says good morning son.
Good morning, Bill. Is that somebody trying to push the index around, or is that a sweep based off of movement in an individual stock? It's happening a lot today. See, that was where I was like a little concerned.
Big Toasty says the bear woke up. Vlad
The bear
Stolyarov
woke
says
up?
the video game is fading.
Maybe. I need to see this. Sorry, Bitcoiners. Okay. Ooh, okay. Okay.
Vlad Stolyarov says 15 minutes Momo is bearish it must past 80s to fully find buyers.
Dude, if they go and they break that new high
Jawad
of day
Hamidi
again,
says
it's
maybe
going to
the
be
market
crazy.
want to come back to the open volume.
So with the way that sold down, if they break the high of day, it's going to be gangbusters. And it seems like they want it. Well, they're struggling a little bit when we come into their profile at 3867.
Vlad Stolyarov says one thing market thought me this January don't fight momentum.
Yeah.
Vlad Stolyarov says right now it's in red.
Don't find momentum unless it's reversing, and then
Bill 777 says R80.
Well, there's quite a number of areas that they're trading a decent amount of liquidity here in the
Vlad
ES
Stolyarov
futures.
says then you gambling it will retest lows and hold.
But look, the Treasury, when we were taken off there, then the Treasury started to clamp back down again.
Vlad Stolyarov says TSLA 685. Vlad
Okay,
Stolyarov
interesting.
says flat.
Don't you think it's interesting that since Tesla lost that 700 area, how quiet it's been? I mean, it still has like 3% moves every day, but it's really kind of gone sideways there. Oh, look, there's another sweep. That's another pretty strong sweep.
Vlad Stolyarov says 10-year Treasury up TNX 4.31 14.76.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm a little concerned about the Treasury. Certainly that's why they're coming back. So let's take our
Vlad Stolyarov
profits.
says 4.31%.
Should have taken the 70. Shouldn't have moved my target, huh?
Vlad Stolyarov says index.
That's okay. We're still positive here. Shit, that's fast.
Jesse Rockwell says alles hat ein Ende. Nur die Wurst hat zwei.
Will Jutsam says that Tesla spike up then back looks pretty negative no.
Vlad Stolyarov says abort lol. Vlad Stolyarov says sing the German song now.
Sing the German song now?
Vlad Stolyarov says to the Republic.
Does the German national anthem or something? Ugh. Okay, well, when it
Vlad
sells,
Stolyarov
it's
says das
definitely
Leid der Deutschen.
this is definitely stronger. Those market makers are just completely out of the way when it does it.
XY says come back to me when the laughter stops.
Jesse Rockwell says Deutschland, Deutschland über alles in der Welt, wenn es stets zu Schutz und Trutze brüderlich zusammenhält.
Ace Trades says morning.
Good morning, Ace. For a long time, I wasn't using the Texas speech
Vlad
because you guys
Stolyarov
were
says
saying too
tongue out.
much. But
Vlad
this morning
Stolyarov
it's working
says
well.
Deutschland über alles in der Welt, wenn es stets zu Schutz und Trutzebrüderlich zusammenhält.
Okay, so I'm just getting reminded that we do have news coming out in 5 minutes.
Jesse Rockwell says lol, uncultured American.
That doesn't look good per se. Oh man, the E-mini is trading some furious pace though. Ooh.
Vlad Stolyarov
There we
says
go.
fewer.
There we go.
Vlad Stolyarov says Einheit verloren.
What was
Vlad
that one? Where it
Stolyarov
took a
says
trade?
unit lost.
Oh, it did take a gap. But how?
Uzi Knesset says ha ha ha. Uzi Knesset says you must construct additional pylons. Vlad Stolyarov says NQ retesting lows.
You see what it did there? Like it's saying that it took it at 38.55 and then immediately. I don't think that that's right. I'm going to go back and retest her on a 1-tick chart today. If I do it on a 1-tick chart.
Called in the fleet?
Called in the fleet. You see it right there, right? You see what I'm talking about?
Vlad Stolyarov says patching you through.
It's saying that it took it right there and immediately got filled. So how is it immediately getting filled? That's not right.
Uzi Knesset says in the pipe, 5x5.
Oh man, I love that. Okay, I'm just
Vlad Stolyarov says we are running low on synergy.
It makes me want to turn her off.
Vlad Stolyarov says Das Svidaniya. Vlad Stolyarov says NQ broken. Vlad Stolyarov says danger.
And why isn't J2 taking any trades? Oh, because the book still says long. But
Will
the
Block
trend
Judson
is
shell.
kill
down.
Vlad?
Uzi Knesset says okay slow down before he turns of the TTS lol.
Okay, so there's
XY
still
says at
absorbing
Vlad
there.
Stolyarov why danger?
Well, I think he's right. Like the NQ seems very unhappy. Whew. So if I come back over to this chart, I'll show you. This is this line right here is
Vlad
NQ
Stolyarov
versus
says the
S&P.
Globix one.
So
Vlad
as we're moving
Stolyarov says
down,
NQ filling the gap.
yeah,
Vlad
as we're going
Stolyarov says
down,
to downside.
yep. As we're going down, the S&P is stronger than the NQ. So the NQ is really taking it on the nose right now. Well, it's kind of slowed down there. So, well, of course, we got the news coming here 10 seconds.
Vlad Stolyarov says must
Looking
be
for reading
democratic taxes for the rich.
58.9.
Big Toasty says that's a cool looking chart. Uzi Knesset says it's definitely distracting when someone takes one
It's higher
comment
than
and turns it into
forecast.
46.
Jesse Rockwell says as a
Both of
German
them.
woman I agree.
Both of them. So I'm going to turn you guys off for a second. So both of them. So we got composite 59.5 versus the forecast 58.8, and the services PMI 59.8 versus an estimated 58.9. So very, very hot prints, and I mean, the expectations are already high and they beat the expectations. The market was pausing before that news, and now the selling appears to be continuing. Turn you back on.
HF says anybody long on S? Vlad Stolyarov says did I saw 52 danger under that under 40 more danger S.
Okay. See, that's not right. And why? Oh, because the strategy is not going to make the noise. But then why didn't I get it over here?
Big Toasty says S short for me ATM.
Ugh, this looks ugly, man. So, like, if the E-mini is going to take a dumpster, you know, like, we still get, like, into the tighter part of the profile, 38.50 or so.
Jawad Hamidi says now longs
We're
on S
coming
is
right
suicide.
to... Yeah, I don't know. Like, there was some serious absorption right there.
Vlad Stolyarov says watch out for German U-boat torpedoes.
Yeah, look at that. There's some buyers coming in here, for sure.
Big Toasty says 3820-3830 potential buy area.
It is a buy area, but their sellers are pushing hard too.
Vlad Stolyarov says 52 was a previous control point.
Look
Kellerk
at that.
73 says morning.
Good morning. Wait, is that a different Keller? What the heck? Now I'm confused. What happened? Where did the other Keller go? He was there.
Kellerk 73 says same guy lol.
But it's a different name, right? Because you...
Vlad Stolyarov says that's a strong candle yeah. Vlad Stolyarov says possibly forming bottom. Kellerk 73 says was there another Keller?
Oh, maybe I had you confused with somebody else. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, yes, that's right. It was Jesse. It was Jesse that was speaking with the German voice. Okay, now we're back above the open, man. I mean, I had that trade right. I should have let that one run, huh?
Kellerk 73 says Yoda says there is another Keller.
No. I was mistaken. I was mistaken. Okay, so there's some more volume here. The 10-year really took a dive there, man. Brandon take a short again? And now I'm turning into that. I'm getting that sleepiness where like the eyes are like rolling in my head and stuff. It's just out of nowhere. My chemicals are all messed up right now.
XY says I know a trader who trades 30 contracts on NQ from the order book.
That sounds crazy. Trading NQ from the order book, that sounds crazy. People tend to just get ripped to shreds in NQ. Now that they're above the open, it's kind of... They're kind of
XY
fighting
says
it, huh?
I mean jigsaw.
Yeah. I mean, they're using the DOM. Yeah. It's just really hard in NQ because it's so freaking volatile, right? See, this is a high liquidity area. Low liquidity area. Still some buy-in there. Oof.
XY says where is it?
So the high liquidity area is around 38.64. And the low liquidity area is around 38.62. So you can kind of see they're buying it up to 64, and then the sellers are pushing it all the way down to 62. The sellers have a little bit of an advantage there because of that liquidity trap. So could have gotten a better entry. Yeah.
XY says okay.
See if I can position this a little better. Okay. They push back through the open very easily there. It's holding. It's a battle. Oh, it's a battle. So I don't know if you would, what chart you would see it on, but we're getting outside action here now.
XY says buyer's gonna win.
I think so. Just the fact that we're back to the open, I think, is bullish. One of the things that makes our analysis here very difficult when you're really getting two-way action like this is that the sellers will always look stronger because selling is just much more desperate, you know? Well, so far, the sellers have made further excursions than the buyers from the open area. This little battle. Battles like this are exciting, but they're not necessarily good trading, are they? Ouch. Well, it took a little bit more risk on that one. Didn't work out. The treasuries, the liquidity is getting awful.
Kellerk73 says I saw a lot of stuff that seemed to be bottoming when I was researching last night, whether on the left, center, or right side of the bottom of the U of the wave. They were mostly all towards the bottom. Chike Benjamin says today I felt really lonely, so I bought some stocks. It's good to have a bit of company.
How does that make you less lonely? What? Big buy order showing up here. They hit him hard. They really hit him hard. It really, you
Chike
see the
Benjamin
way they
says Reddit
slam
again.
it. They just really slam it. Woo. See that? They haven't broken the low quite yet. There it is. Oh, those were some stops right there. Whew. That was somewhat satisfying. And look, Bitcoin is heading on the downward side again. With the rest of the market.
Kellerk73 says, won't you take me to Funkytown? Do DEH DEH do DEH do. Do DEH DEH do.
Maybe you should just do D. Doody 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 do. Okay, we got the top of the hour news coming here. Well, let's close that first of all. Okay, so we get 55.3 lower than forecast. Seen covering.
Kellerk73 says, do 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 do.
She read that so fast.
Kellerk73 says, do 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 do.
Duh and do or sound that's the same though. Okay, this might go lower, but I saw some covering activity there, so I was like, okay, I think I caught the trade. I should just sit on that one. Now the Treasury and the E-mini are starting to diverge a little bit. The E-mini is recovering, but the S&P 500 just looks like awful. So again, they were looking for non-manufacturing business activity to be 60, and it came at 55.5. So that's a pretty big miss. New orders 51.9, manufacturing prices 71.8. Non-manufacturing employment 52.5. So it's not like a bad print, but it's definitely worse than expected. I do think we could continue down a little bit, but it was getting a little too volatile for me, and I was seeing covering. So there does appear to be some buying that might be covering in that area. That one's not enough for me to say like it's going to hold there or not, but and J2 still hasn't taken a trade. All the better, I guess. Gabby, take another one. Okay, so there is one where Gabby... In fact, why didn't she say that she was filled there? Oh, actually, you know what? Hold up. I think I know what's going on here. Ah, yes. Do not plot. Text and marker. Aha! Okay, so now when we come back to that one that I was concerned about. Aha! Oh, okay. She got that one perfect. That one is actually a little questionable. She get filled there, but it looks like it did go through, so That's kind of where I've got to be concerned, though, is those ones that are like 1 or 2 ticks. So I feel better about Gabby now. Gabby, good. Brandon, good. Brandon did take a loser there, though. Jay, just awful. Indy making money today. Joseph, as always, not so good. Joseph is the most technical analysis-based one. And yet, he's not very consistent at all.
Will Jutsam says Apple and MS getting hit hard this morning.
I bet Google is getting hit hard, right? When we heard that news on Google, I was concerned for them. They're down 0.79% versus Apple's 0.88. So, well, Apple's doing worse. ARK is down almost 2.5%. Tesla, and wow. Oh, okay, so hold up. Tesla is up a quarter
Will Jutsam says
of a
yet the
percent.
same.
High target reactive. The Tesla is down, or Tesla is up about 0.25%, but ARK is down almost 2.5%. So ARK is experiencing some bearishness outside of just their largest position in Tesla. What about these other ones? GameStop is kind of okay. MSTR up a little bit today. Silver still looks terrible. Oh, so we said we were going to come in and look. Oh my. Oh my, really? Where are they at right now? So it's 17 a dollar. That kind of looks worth it. Yeah, I'll think about it. Ooh, it's ugly. Put that somewhere where I can see it.
Will Jutsam says TSLA tracks BTC not Nasdaq now. Lol.
Vlad Stolyarov says 1 hour nasty. Vlad Stolyarov says looking to get to 38s.
So Tesla, I mean, Bitcoin is up overall overnight, but it's coming back hard. It's hard for me to say. You might be right. We come back here. Yeah, well, it was kind of, I don't know. What I'm seeing there in Tesla, maybe that was the Bitcoin coming back. I don't know. It looks like it's a lot more complicated than that, though. We are seeing some dollar strength here as the morning goes on, though. Flat, though. Flat during the main action, which is what tends to happen. Yeah. Soft ADP data and ISM services employment component don't bode well for non-farm payrolls, says Forex Live. I agree. Oh, I missed that one. Okay. Ooh, Bulls holding really well there, yeah. Look at that. Maybe a little bit more in that. Here's the next step in the profile up to 53. Okay, cool. This was a good trade. I wish I'd gotten the original price though. Tesla seems to have a lot of buying pressure at this price. Tesla has a lot of pressure generally. I gotta say, someday things are going to change around in Tesla, and it's going to be an absolute disaster. But for now, these millennials just absolutely love it. Any large brokerage had stock to borrow this morning, interest rate close to 37% this morning. Wow, really? Wonder which stock that is. 5-year break-even surged to 2.5%, highest since 2008. 2.5% in a 5-year break-even? Oh, none of my robots have positions on right now. Ouch. Well, I caught a really good small pullback there because, I mean, look at the dump on the lower low there. Gosh. No bullshit gamble here. Yeah, well, notice I haven't moved for whatever reason today. I'm just taking short ones and letting them go, and I haven't been trying to let them ride. Looks like Congress is going to pass the coronavirus bill.
Vlad Stolyarov says you can see them try to be early.
Jesse Rockwell says I'm up $3 K on VIX derivatives today.
Really? Oh yeah, VIX is up 10%. And look, Tesla's pressing those lows. Yeah, that doesn't look so good for them, does it? Not look necessarily so good. They've been much lower though recently, as low as 620. Most chartists would probably read this as a consolidating triangle with the possibility that it cup and handles up and keeps pushing onward. But the fundamental case in Tesla to me still says that they're overvalued. So I'm kind of more interested on if they break this and they decide to go lower. $38.40 single print. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of having a hard time because I guess I need to come over here and kind of get my bearings a little bit better on where we can potentially go in the E-mini if we continue to sell. Okay, target 138.30, target 2 3,800. Volume profile. Yeah, I see that 3840 single print. And then everything below that is really tight. But I would say 3805. There's his profile. Like so now that we're into this section of the profile from the 26th, so from last week, Friday, you know, like I think the probability is that you go to the other side of it, but yeah, I'm a little worried about that. Oh, they did go lower though. It seems like sellers keep meeting them too. Like,
Vlad Stolyarov says I don't like how slow they coming in here.
Jesse Rockwell says this is some sustained volume.
yeah, really is. Like I said, I
Vlad
think there's
Stolyarov says they
probably,
destroying the bids, slightly smiling face.
given that some of this does appear to be options
Vlad
related,
Stolyarov says torpedoes deployed.
that's, you don't want that. No,
Big Toasty
sir.
says 34 stops. Vlad Stolyarov says DOS is good 34 I have target acquired. Big Toasty says probably carrot. Vlad Stolyarov says fire. Big Toasty says or market sellers.
This is kind of getting into that, like,
Jesse
the
Rockwell
move
says why
is
did
so
I let my
developed.
friend talk me into buying PLTR?
Oh, geez, no. Are they getting hammered today? Oh, yeah, no, down 2.25. This is turning into that thing where it's like it's
Vlad
so
Stolyarov
clearly
says,
down,
"Ah, ha, ha."
but it's really hard to find a safe spot, right? It's like there's that right there.
Vlad Stolyarov says PLTR very extended and nobody wants.
Is it? But Kathy bought more, guys. Come on. Kathy bought it. That should mean it's a good trade, right?
Vlad Stolyarov says tongue out.
Ouch. That is not what I wanted.
Vlad Stolyarov says 34.
Jesse Rockwell says Kathy ist Übermensch.
There's no greater argument that irks me more than so and so fund manager bought the thing.
Vlad
You should
Stolyarov
buy it
says expecting
too.
at least some strength soon.
Especially people like Kathy
Vlad
or
Stolyarov says watching dollar tick.
freaking Michael Saylor over on MSTR. Michael Saylor bought more. I don't care. Just because Michael Saylor is willing to gamble with billions of dollars of credit doesn't mean that I'm
Vlad
willing to do
Stolyarov
reckless
says
things.
TNX 14.88 4.88%.
And I really hope that when these guys lose, that they are taught a big lesson and that it is plastered all over the news, so that these millennials will always remember that you can't just trust the money managers.
Vlad Stolyarov says I know Nobi trader deep in red in AMZN calls they probably going to blow 50% of account.
Really? Wait, did they buy the calls or did they sell?
Vlad Stolyarov says yeah they average down. Big Toasty says trapped buyers are real buyers. Vlad Stolyarov says 5 calls 3,400.
Well, because we got that big gap down at the bottom, it can make it difficult to
Jesse
move
Rockwell
down.
says meanwhile my friend who knows null about trading dropped 18k on BTC at 6k.
Vlad Stolyarov says it's never coming back. Chike Benjamin says what do you call a Spanish footballer with no legs? Gracias. Vlad Stolyarov says Daily says buy AMZN today if this is still bull trend.
I really should have flipped around on that one, but it's
Big
okay.
Toasty says it Jesse Rockwell damn this lucky bastard. Vlad Stolyarov says but once they don't hold 30-40s on AMZN everyone bails.
Well, yeah, if you got in at
Big
Bitcoin
Toasty
at
says slightly
6K,
smiling face.
you're probably safe. That's one that you can probably let ride, but unless Bitcoin like really truly crashes.
Will Jutsam says that joke only really works with a British accent.
So we'll see. Ooh. It's 8:30 right now.
Kellerk73 says it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Okay.
Ace Trades says at Kellerk73 it's actually not.
Yeah, it doesn't work the same as for high noon because high noon isn't dependent upon the time zone, right? Say it's always high noon somewhere in the world. That's true.
Jawad Hamidi says I think bull are back.
I don't know. This could still just be a temporary pullback. The problem is down at the bottom there was some liquidity issues. So
Ace
that's
Trade
why they're
says that
kind
is
of
true.
fallen back the way that they have. So that doesn't from my studies so far, that doesn't suggest to me that
Kellic73 says Jimmy Buffett would beg to differ.
That doesn't suggest to me that this will reverse per se, but rather that we'll have a significant pullback and that we're likely to revisit that area maybe 30 minutes from now. But essentially what's happening is the book has to normalize. Lots of volume there.
Ace Trade says at Kellic73 Jimmy Buffett got killed and eaten in Jurassic Park the 12th.
I don't really even know who that is. American songwriter, musician, author, actor, and businessman, best known for his music which portrays an island escapism lifestyle. Oh, okay.
Ace Trade says that was a typo, not a slam. Lol.
Jimmy Buffett.
Kellic73 says the cheeseburger in Paradise guy. Chike Benjamin says serious question, what news were there that made Papa Market red today?
Yeah, so I don't think that in this particular situation, it didn't look to me like there was like a specific piece of news that came in and just like really slammed the markets. But I do think that it was a combination of a couple of pieces of news and the overall context, right? So I think the first one is that we did see yields rise over in Europe. And the treasuries were seeing pressure this morning. And then, you know, as this has like really gone through, you could see that the treasuries came. Like, remember when we took a short from there to there and it came back up to 04 and I was like, that was a good trade. But then since then, it really took a dive, right? So that's the first thing. The next thing is that we have the non-farms this Friday, right? So people pay attention to the ADP number and the manufacturing numbers that we get just before the non-farms number as an indication of what the non-farms number is going to be. And both of those numbers have been very bad. Well, not very bad, like they're still positive reads and everything, but they were very much under the expectation. So what's happening is everybody is repricing their expectation for non-farms, right? So then we saw that the ADP number came out. That was when the selling pressure started, and then after 8:30 news, which was just Canadian housing numbers, then it was like that was out of the way, and so they were ready to sell. And given that we had just had like a really big recovery update after that crazy bender last Thursday, I think. Overall, it seems like that the pressure in the S&P 500 on a midterm basis, that is over the next few weeks, is actually slightly down to sideways. So I think that's why you're starting to get some of this this bearish action coming in overall. And then we also got this thing going on with Gamma and VIX. Like people are buying puts to outright speculate with it. So I can't point to like one thing, but I can definitely see in the overall context. But that's also why I'm not sitting here and like taking a short and just trying to hold it and let it ride, right? Because when you look at the flow right now, it'll go down, but then it's really hard to catch a short. In fact, if we come and look, so I've made $100 on discretionary trading today, but look at the ones that did well. So that was a buy. That was a buy. I did make 50 on a sell. That was a buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. So I've done slightly better on the buys, and that is because I believe that we keep like the liquidity keeps disappearing. It's like they can't normalize. So you get these really aggressive pullbacks. Yeah. So that's kind of the context that I'm looking at it in. And really paying attention to the liquidity. Like Gabby here, she didn't get it, but she was going to try and go long at the low of the day. She still has it out there, so there's a pretty good chance. There's like a 50-50 chance that it comes back to that spot, actually. Believe it or not. Okay, we're getting oil numbers. It doesn't look. It looks like oil is not taking that so well. Yields up. Who's bothers? Says the market here. Hey, I continue you guys back on here now that I'm done with my pontification. They're building a decent amount of volume there at 37. In fact, that is now the point of control for the session. So, like I said, though, wouldn't be surprised if they go back to the low. It's about, from my numbers, about 50% chance that they do it.
Blunt 420 says S fell off a cliff from the 1 hour where it was consolidating, broke the 200, 50 and 20 in the blink of an eye. Gotta love trading a Seth.
Are you talking about on a daily? Nah, you can't be talking about on a daily profile, can you? Yeah, no, they're still not on a daily profile. I mean, it does kind of show you. The thing is that after the Canadian news, when they sold, that initial impulse was very aggressive. Very aggressive. So...
Vlad Stolyarov says I shot the sheriff but I didn't shoot the deputy.
They break the 200-year bear territory. Problem is you can go and you can break a moving average and then reverse right back up very quickly, right?
says break the 200 and you are in bear territory.
Got to remember that any back
Vlad
test on
Stolyarov says watch AMZN daily level.
We can do it, in fact. We'll make a point with the moving averages. That looks bullish. That was a little too bullish, in fact, right there. Okay, hold up. Ninja Trader's kind of being
Vlad Stolyarov says 3040.
Okay.
Vlad Stolyarov says kinda very important. Blunt 420 says I roll to the bank lol.
Okay, so we're going to use a 200 period moving average. I'm going to be very generous and give it a 32 tick stop with an equal risk reward target. And we are going to use the cross of the moving average, because you're talking about the cross, not the slope of the moving average, right? We're going to do it on an E-mini chart on 1 minute bars. And I'm going to take the risk here and try and go back all the way to 2008 on the whole extended session. We'll run it and see what we get. All right. Okay. Doesn't look like Gabby got her fill on that either, so maybe it just doesn't happen.
Big Toasty says you can most of the simple strategies profitable using money management.
Well, managing your risk always helps in my experience, but it doesn't necessarily make a bad signal good. So here, of all of the technical indicators that I think retail traders misread or misunderstand, it is the moving average. Okay. So, what do we get here? So on long trades, there is a very slight... Oh, I didn't include commissions. So I can't... well, I should have done that. Oh, well. On commissions, though, probably when you include the commissions, that one's break even on the longs, and on the shorts, you lose your hat. In fact, on the shorts, it's a slightly 47% win rate there. Okay. And we can come in and we can look at the analysis on it. We should be able to see some periods where it's effective and where it's not. Oh, you know what? I'm not having it remember all of the traits, so I can't show you the chart. Okay, so now we could come back and we could do something here. So let's say that we're going to, oops, wrong one, optimization. Okay.
Masiak Dujiak says, did I hear Mario Brothers? Tongue out.
No, it was Final Fantasy. It was Final Fantasy. So now I'm going to increase the target, the risk reward ratio by 1, stepping all the way up to 10. Okay. Using the same stop. Oh wait, didn't we do the stop we did was 32, right? So we'll increase this and we'll just change this back to 32. Okay. I do that because that's
says you make the assumption you take every setup, lol. Big Toasty says, I hate that you can't backtest order flow strategies.
You can. Gabby is an order flow strategy. Jay is an order flow strategy. It's harder. It takes a lot longer. Now, level 2, I'm having a hard time backtesting, but I think I'm close to fixing that. That's on my list, right? Dom levels. Nope. Oh, right.
Big Toasty says how?
Should fix it. Well,
Big Toasty says, is there any way to test order flow strategies back quote?
Okay, so if you use tick replay, then you can backtest any kind of order flow indicator that you have built into NinjaTrader, right? And in my backtesting, you can get these weird things with like I gotta tell you, the fill resolution, sometimes it doesn't matter and sometimes it really matters. It depends on the strategy. But for order flow strategies, the resolution seems to matter a lot. 1 minute isn't good enough. So okay, so here it comes through. Okay, so actually we can get it with a 10. Is that 10? No, 7. 7, 9, 10 is not. 10 is not. Okay. Anyways, let me finish on the order flow thing first, okay? So yeah, I will like backtest it using tick replay with a 1 tick on a 1 tick data series is how I test it. And yeah, if you run a back test on a year's worth of data, it takes like an hour. On my machine, at least, it takes about an hour. Tick replay is really expensive, okay? But that's just volume. That's just like cumulative delta and that sort of a thing. It's not level 2. Now, my indicators that you get from speculatorseth.com, if you are a YouTube channel member for $10 a month, then that has those histograms, and those histograms save the data historically, and we should be able to back test off of that as well. I just am having some threading issues with it, but I believe I have sorted out how to resolve the threading issues, because if you set the variable inside of the on bar close or whatever method it is, that fixes the threading issues. And I've kind of fixed this thing in the indicators, and they're working a lot better. They're not perfect though. So yeah, I believe that when I go back and I try and do a back test on those, that it should work out. Okay. What game is that from? It's from Final Fantasy. Come on, guys. You haven't played Final Fantasy. It's a victory theme song from Final Fantasy. Okay. So, what was the whole point of this? Okay. Moving averages are misunderstood. Moving averages don't have a positive probability. They're not a probable trade. Let me repeat that. They're not a probable trade. So here, if your stop is about equal to the average true range, then you're going to get a poor win rate. And if you, set it to be really wide, it's going to be 50-50. Okay. A cross of a moving average is not probable. I will say it again. It is not probable. So how do you use a moving average? Why is a moving average possibly an effective way to trade? The cross of a moving average tends to indicate the beginning of a trend. So if you take the cross of a moving average and you let it run, in this case, we're using a 200 period moving average and a risk reward ratio of 7, you get a little bit of profitability. It still doesn't work on the short trades. So really what this is telling us, so we should be careful with that, right? Really what this is telling us is that the S&P 500 tends to move up. If we did this on a different instrument, we might get a different result. Let's go and do this on a different instrument. Let's go and try this on the 10-year treasury. That might be fun. Okay. But again, the moving average crossover, if it works, it's because you can get runners. You get in at the beginning of a trend and you can let that run. If you don't take the runs, then it's just pointless. It doesn't really tell you anything. And here is this thing where, so what happened was somebody went and they did a test and they found that, if you take the crossover of the moving average and you can get them to run. And retail traders took that and then they said, oh yeah, that means that it works. Doesn't mean what you think it means. You got to go into the data and look at the data. How many of you have you say that, moving average is so great. Did you test it? Did you actually test it? I have a moving average that works amazing, by the way. I wish trading was so easy, right? Simple trend. So then the other pushback that I got on that was, well, you don't take every crossover. Okay, so how do you filter them out? And that's when we get into the ACE strategy, because ACE's strategy is based on a moving average crossover on certain conditions. And here again, if you let it ride, you can get it to work. But how he determines which ones he takes and which ones he doesn't, because even within his qualifications, he has very specific qualifications. But sometimes he violates those qualifications, and sometimes those qualifications are met and he doesn't take it. And how he determines which ones he does and he doesn't know, I don't think even he himself knows. And we have to consider the possibility that it's just dumb luck, right? Can you talk through Discord? I think we could do that. Yeah, and it cost money to find out the rest of my system. Yeah. It's mind-boggling to me when I sit and I watch his signal when he does and doesn't take it. And it's like he's definitely does better than the robot. So I don't know how he does it. I don't think he knows how he does it. Maybe he's seeing the signal that I see that I'm kind of dance around but don't straight up give you guys. Okay, so here it is on the treasury. Not profitable, right? Actually, on the treasury, it seems to be favoring the smaller targets. It looks like it is a little bit more favorable to crossover, but even on a 1 target, it's not good. You know what? We took that on 32 ticks, though. Oh, it actually does okay on long trades over the long term. Probably we need to use a bigger stop, right? 32 tick stop is really big. Let's do 8. Because what do you want to share, though, Big Toasty? The E-mini is still kind of... I mean, I could have taken more trades, but I actually think that I'm kind of to the maybe you should stop. $100, that's really good, so... Oh, you want to talk about your strategy? Well, why do you want to share with everybody your strategy? I don't think you should, to be honest with you. I mean, if it works, if it really works and you're making money on it, I would love for you to share it with me. But I don't think that you should actually share the whole thing on Discord to the channel, to be honest with you. I think yeah. The market seeks out edges and arbitrages them away, and even though I know that this channel isn't very big, the experience has been that if you have an edge that we can kind of talk about certain market properties about it, but that we shouldn't actually reveal the whole edge. Seth, could you briefly break down Fed pumping money into the market? Well, when people say that, usually what they mean is that the Federal Reserve is buying treasuries. So the concern right now is that the rise in rates could be too excessive and that the Federal Reserve will have to spend money to buy more of the excess supply out there that the Treasury is putting out. And when that happens, everybody knows that, like, oh, I can just go and buy the bonds and sell it back to the Federal Reserve. Okay. That's a little bit better. So when I came back and the percent profitable was still super random, I was like, that's not right. I must not have quite this tight enough stop. Okay. So this looks kind of the same thing. And I bet you that one side will work and one side won't. Probably because those long trades, when we were moving up pre-crisis, oh, not even on that one. Well, okay. So there you go. Yes, close on my fingerprints. Yeah, they didn't quite get to the VIX target yet, have they? Two higher lows so far. Could break down later. Anyways, any questions about the moving average thing? Or you want to argue with me more about it? I do think, Big Toasty, that your strategy might be interesting, but I think you should share it off stream if you really want to do more. And we can backtest it, because I'm always about backtesting them. I'm always about. The other day, somebody emailed me about a strategy. Oh, I need to email that guy today. And he was like, he was giving me a horoscope based on my birthday. And I'm like, okay, like that's cool, but like you have to tell me how it works and then I can get started. I don't care about all that other stuff. Okay, ECB's De Guaido's talking right now saying stuff about yield curve control. What, 12,000 over 8 years? Oh, it's not 8 years, it's over 13 years. Over the whole time that I've been trading. Rumor Powell to hint at Twist 3.0 tomorrow. Oh, really? That is a rumor. That is a if the Operation Twist were to come in, that would make a big difference over here in the Treasury complex. I remember when Twist 1.0 happened, that was confusing and difficult to trade. The Guaido CECB is not in the game of yield curve control. Okay. Chris Murray, a University of Washington disease expert whose projections on COVID-19 infections and deaths are closely followed worldwide, is changing his assumptions about the course of the pandemic. Okay. Well, that's not... I mean, that was okay, but... U.S. new orders a couple of points from contraction territory too. Looks like a black hole is very near for durable goods. Did you run out of things to order on Amazon yet? I did. I don't think I'll need any new gadgets for the next 5 years. Oh man, that is a interesting thought. Gold falls to the lowest level since June. Oh yeah, they did. Wait, when was that latest part? 8:45. Owie, owie, owie. How's AG handling it? Ouch. Let's check on the indexes. Where are we at? Okay, so silver is down hardcore, really bad day on silver. ARC now, when we looked at it, was 2.25, and now they're 3.5 almost. Tesla is down 2, down 0.5 point. Amazon down 1.3. AMC down 1.4. What's doing well? Bank's doing well. Goldman Sachs is up 2.25%. Hey. All right. So does that mean that I made money today or lost money? Just slightly lost money. That Sumo Logic is a problem right now because I think that the company is really good, but it gets really affected by all of the small cap techs. You should do technical analysis on COVID. I have a March 560K March 20th call. Okay, so this is where it's kind of like when you talk about technical analysis, and of course, the definition of technical analysis kind of matters here. But here it's like coronavirus cases. Okay, here's the coronavirus cases, and it's going like this, and it's going like this. Okay, now what's going to happen from here? Okay, well, if you do technical analysis, you're going to say, here's a trend line, and here it's going up, and yada, yada, yada. But if you go and you actually analyze the thing that we're looking at and form models to model the growth and how it's spreading through the population and everything else like that, what you will see is that there's going to be a peak because we've reached peak infections, and it's going to start being like this. Although the downside tends to be a lot more gently sloped, unfortunately. right? So here's a perfect example of like running technical analysis on economic numbers is kind of stupid, isn't it? Doesn't make much sense. These trend lines and moving averages and stuff, because the top COVID experts, they knew exactly when this point was happening. Right? Do it again. What are they saying? It's coming down. Let me draw it a little bit better, because that's not really the critical point that the technical analysis, those guys would try and say something. They'd be like, okay, right here, this is where we're supposed to buy it, right? Because it's touching the trend line, right? But then he goes through it and it's down, and so I'm just saying, like when you start to apply technical analysis to economic data, it really just shows how crazy it is. You just proved TA works. And like, you would have bought it at the trend line. You would have bought it. You would have bought COVID and not sold it. But here's my point is that if you do the modeling, not only can you know that the number of infections is going to trail off, but you can know about the spot that it's going to do that, like weeks before it happens. Well, all these TA guys are running, What is she trading based on the girl robot that bought now? Wait, did our robot buy? I don't think that my robots have any positions on. Oh, Gabby did take a trade. What happened? Let's see here. Oh, yes, she tried to take a gap long. But you know what? She had the right idea. That one, it just didn't quite turn out. I'm okay with that. So she took a good one and then she took a loser. I'm okay with that. Brandon made good money today. Indy made good money today. Indy made more than me. Indy trading on micros made 155. Wait, does he trade on micros? Yep, he trades on micros. He made 155. That's great. Now I'll text by the trend line touches. I use them to identify breaks and trend changes. Okay, so if you're saying here's the trend line, and when it breaks the trend line like this, then you're going to go short, right? Okay, so let's go back and let's find a situation. What would be a situation? What is Indy based on? Indy is based on the inventory cost basis when, and that's all I'm going to get into on it. But it is very much a mean reversion trade, we'll say. So how many did he take exactly? Strategy, performance, real time. Oh, okay. It's part of the puzzle. See, but this is so. Here's where you should be concerned, RJ. Can you backtest the system? Because then the risk that you run here is you doing a bunch of stuff, and then you don't actually really know how well it works or not. And then if it doesn't work, you just blame yourself. So then it's like, okay, well, if it works, like, how long has it been working for? Okay, has it been working for like 4 years? Because if it's been working for years, then maybe you have something. Oh, I should probably take one up there. Good deal. Okay. Here, I make assumptions based on technicals being applied to another's trading stats, particularly one at a time. Okay, so one of the things that I found really interesting. Yeah, there he was again. I think you buy him. That one, 51. Two at that spot. Happened twice. Right there. Oh, look, he shows up. That's interesting. That's interesting. Can't make assumptions on how others treat a single technical. Yes, but what I can do is I can go and I can do a back test. And if you have a better way to do the back test, then you can share it with me and we'll do the back test. Right? I just like this is where I find it so funny is like if technical analysis is really so effective, why can't people prove it? Why can't people prove it? You can't backtest it not effectively, then you don't really actually have a system. You don't know what you're seeing that's beyond the technical analysis and what you're factoring in. Maybe you're factoring in the news, and the real reason why you're successful is because you're factoring in the news. How do you know? Seth, please. What do you mean, please? There has been so many, and I mean so many, empirical studies about the performance of different technical analysis strategies, and they all show that technical analysis is at best inconsistent. I'm not embarrassing myself. I think that when you go around and you make claims without empirical evidence to back it up, that's embarrassing yourself. I don't go and I'm very careful to not make claims that I can't back up with evidence. Backtests can't take into account every nuance. Well, they can. I mean, if your strategy is truly technical, okay, if it is truly technical, which means that it is 100% based on information generated by the exchange, you can program it, period. It might be really complicated. There might be a lot of edge cases and things like that, but you can program it if it is purely technical. Okay? Because you got to realize, like, what are computers good at doing and not doing? They're really good at dealing with numbers and doing calculations and these sorts of things. What are they not so good at? They're not so good at seeing things, like the things that we take for granted as people, you know, like walking, seeing something and being able to pick it up. Those are the things that are hard for computers, right? Those don't factor in when we're talking about technical analysis. You know, I said long, but I don't think that it's going to come back and get that. So, no, they can't. And each additional test will give a drastically different result on everything you tested on, unless it's machine learning programming. Okay, well, so you can use machine learning, but like here again, when they use machine learning algorithms on some of these, it's not. Especially like if you're running machine learning algorithm on like a 1 minute chart, it's still inconsistent. Like, and that's where I would say, where is the study? Where is the back test? Where is the actual years of performance that show that these purely technical strategies work? Because none of you guys seem to be able to produce it. Blunt showed me some things. He showed me a type of moving average that I thought was really interesting. It wasn't really designed for finance, but you could use it on finance, but it wasn't any better than the low pass filter. So I thought that was interesting. But I back tested it and it kind of came out like just kind of break even like everything else. He claims that there's a lot more else to that system, but he can't show me. And clearly he hasn't back tested it himself. Or he would just show me that. It was a noise. I mean, dude, it's an indicator. What else would you call it? You can turn it into an indicator on NinjaTrader chart. You're right. It's a noise filter. It's a moving average, essentially. It's a moving average in the same kind of class as these low pass filters that, you know, Euler has and so forth. I was actually surprised that like the calculation for it is not that complicated. But the other issue for it is that it really doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to look at, but why do you keep arguing with an amateur and ban order book traders? Well, what do you mean? Why would I ban order book traders? I mean, I traded with the order book, but I love to argue about it. Well, I think that it shows a good point. And it's the thing. Like the vast majority of retail traders lose money, like 95% in futures. Guess what? I would venture to guess that probably 80% of retail day traders are trading purely technical analysis. And so this is the great debate, is how effective is technical analysis. And I've done a lot of my own personal study on it. I backtest new strategies every day. I read every empirical study that I can find on it. And the results of everything that I have seen so far is that technical analysis on short time frames isn't very effective. And this is the thing that I think is one of the most important debates that you can have on retail. And so I'm going to have it every time that it comes up. So, and one of the things that I think is so funny about it is the undying faith in technical analysis. Like, you get these retail traders that they themselves are not making money, but they are absolutely certain that technical analysis works. How do you know then? So you knew somebody that made money for a period of time doing it? Like, did you actually see all of their trades and know their exact system? And if their system really works, then why aren't you trading it? Tommy Lawrence in prop trading, they use volume profile, a context, and tape reading, no other indicators. Yeah, and you know what? I bet you they also have a news squawk. I bet you they also keep track of what various funds and ETFs and so forth are doing. But you sell an indicator. Well, so all of my indicators are basically level 2 stuff, right? So then we get into is order flow technical analysis. Well, so here's where I say, if we limit the definition of technical analysis to be analysis based purely on price patterns and movements, I can say with complete confidence that it doesn't work. It is simply not enough information to really know what's going on. How do the bots do with order flow analysis today? Well, so Jay, our HFT, did dismally. He lost $100 on micros. J2, which is we're kind of making a little bit of a change, never ended up taking a trade. Now that is probably because of the way that the book is positioned today. So this goes back to, I think that we still need to change our level 2 filters on him and see if we can get anything out of it. Gabby took 2. How many trades did Gabby take? I should just pull this over so you can see it. Oh, Gabby took 3 trades, but one of them lost, so she ended up losing a little bit. That's okay. Now, Brandon, he did really well. Brandon actually probably should have not traded as much, and then it would have been even better because he had 2 losers. But at one point, a gross profit of 1,100, that's really good, right? You surround yourself with dumb traders like Ace to fill. Well, so like this is the funny thing. Okay, first is that it looks like you're Salim, but second of all, Ace is like one of the few people that has actually shown me something. like that's all of these people. They say, technical analysis works. This works. Ace showed me a system. I backtested. I don't get the results when I backtested that he gets. But he has shown me, like, he has made significant sums of money in the past using his system. Hey, I'm not going to say that you can duplicate his results, but I'm testing analysis with COT data. They say the data is from every Tuesday night, but does the FCMs get the data from the start of Tuesday after the Tuesday close, so it contains it? No, I think that it is... I don't think that anybody gets that data until it gets released on Friday. Like, it gets released on Friday, and and like the thing is that like it's for transparency purposes, but the reality is that by the time the COT report comes out, everybody already knows what it's going to say. Generally speaking. It just proved the point about the uselessness of backtest. Well, I think what it shows is that past performance is an indicative of future results, right? So all of these supposed technical edges, especially based on price patterns that are supposedly finding inefficiencies in the market, I haven't even found an empirical study where they prove that this inefficiency exists. In fact, the empirical studies that I've shown are mostly just proving how the market very aggressively and effectively arbitrages away those inefficiencies. Now, there are some efficiencies that I have found in empirical studies, okay? So here are some of the ones that I've discovered. One is that there are clustering effects. So orders tend to lead to more orders. A buy order tends to increase the probability of like an hour later, there's like a 0.5% chance higher that any given order an hour from then will also be a buy if it followed, a big buy an hour earlier. There is an autocorrelation in markets. Okay, that's one. That's very small, and that one gets arbitraged out, right? There are, and this goes for volatility as well, volatility clustering, right? So when you tend to get a bout of volatility, the probability is that you will continue to see bouts of volatility, right? That is a known, I'm not going to say inefficiency in the market. Maybe inefficiency is the wrong word. That is a known property of markets that differs from what would be a random walk, right? And the other one that I found is that there tends to be places of light liquidity and heavy liquidity and behaviors that they will tend to exhibit around those areas of liquidity, right? And then the last one and the big one is that the market responds to changing expectations created by breaking news. So many people tell me like news doesn't work, but then it's like, well, that's not what the data shows, right? So, the past performance is not indicative of future results. Yet you think broker statement is worth anything? Well, here's why I always bring that up, XY, because nobody will show me a 4-year account statement of profitability. I come in and I say, well, then show me the broker statement. It shuts them right up because nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. I find it so funny because Salim comes in and trolls me and he's like, oh, you surround yourself with dumb traders. You are one of the dumbest people I have ever met. Seriously, the things that he says and the way that he goes about it, the logic, he's good at trolling people, I admit, but Like, how can you get banned? Like, he sent me a message on Facebook the other day. I didn't do anything. I didn't report him or anything, and he was banned within a day. How can you get banned and hated literally everywhere you go? You're not as smart as you think you are. You're just straight up, you're not. And I would prefer that you just go away. But it's okay. We can ban you every day if we want to. Tommy Lawrenson, you can only use that report if it is a long-term investment, the COT. Well, yeah, so like this is where I get into with the COT is that, like, again, so for instance, this Friday, we're going to get COT data, right? I bet you $1 million. I have $1 million, so this is obviously isn't a serious bet, but I bet you $1 million if I could that the COT report on Friday will show that gold and silver short positions increase. You will see it. Almost certainly will happen, right? We already know because gold and silver have been just absolutely decimated last week. So I don't know how they use that data. It's like, what is the difference between the number of shorts that you think are out there and how many actually are out there, and you adjust, and I don't know what they do with it. But but for that reason, I question how effective it actually will be for a retail trader, because it's going to tell you information that you should already know. Oh, hey, did we get, oh no, we need to move over here. Oh, okay, so it did, cool. And yeah, again, if you have a back test and if it's going to be a back test like that, obviously, if you're back testing order flow, well, it's kind of hard to go back further than a year. But if you're really doing a back test, like really, we should go back to 2008 if we can, if not before that, right? But show me a back test, a peer-reviewed empirical study, or multiple years worth of broker statements to prove the efficacy of any individual strategy. You can come and message me anytime. Who are you to expect people to give you their broker statements? Well, Quo, so imagine things from my position. Random person on the internet, somebody that's completely anonymous, comes out and says, I make money all the time. You should come and buy my package or my education from me, or you should do all of these things. Or even if we're just having the argument here, oh, well, I'm profitable using this thing, so I know it works. How do I know that you're not full of shit? Because you know what? You're on the internet and you're a random anonymous person. You know what I think the probability is? You're full of shit. How can you expect anybody to believe anything that you're saying if you can't prove it? And here's the next thing is, why wouldn't you show it? Why wouldn't you show it? You can go into your broker statements and you can just black out your name and everything. They will never know who it was. Okay? So what is the point? I'm not anonymous. If you really looked hard, you could probably find my address. Okay. But there's no reason not to show it if you're making money. Why do people not want to show it? I'll tell you why. There's only one reason why people don't want to show it. Because it would be embarrassing. Because if you're a great trader and you're a great trader all the time, you would be taking every opportunity you could to show people how much money you make. Oh, you never met. So why are you complaining? So you can't do it. So how do you know? So why are you complaining about? You never went live, so all you're saying is you couldn't do it. Okay. But do you believe that a certain strategy or set of strategies should work? Then go and trade that strategy. You can't get it to work. How do you know that the strategy actually works? Have you seen from anybody that a broker statement proving that the strategy works? Argue with me as an individual, not as a group. Who cares? You said that you had a sim account, then you blew it. So who cares? Who cares what you think? Like, seriously. Yeah, because it would devoid them of any credibility, right? It really would. I mean, it really does, CJ. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, people can be successful at it. I have found strategies that I believe work. It's hard. I've been doing really well the past 2 weeks. I wonder, like, okay, that seems like this approach is working and everything. But I did have some periods where it didn't work very well, and I'm still not quite sure why. I think that there's still some bits down there where still some things that you gotta learn to know not to do this or do this because of this particular thing about markets. I could show you the statements that prove that inversion my portfolio would consistently win. Well, probably not, actually, Keller. So, unless you are like taking equal risk reward and your win rate is like 20%, inversing it probably wouldn't make money. Inversing it would probably be just as random. And this is a common fallacy that traders run in. I'm not picking on you. It's just as a common fallacy that people run into that a lot of retail traders really believe is that, oh, this person, if they're not making money, then all I need to do is just do the opposite of them. And, I'll make money off of other retail traders being wrong. But the reality is that if a retail trader is wrong about something, then it generally means that their strategy is just random. And so if you trade the opposite of a random strategy, you just lose money too. There's no reason to take a trade unless you have a truly predictive signal. Yeah. Okay, so Gabby did take that last one and made money off of it. It's unfortunate that she lost the last one because she had the right idea. I kind of wonder when they did back testing and I was like increasing the risk reward and all of that, it didn't seem to help. But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, she should be able to make way more, But maybe this is where I really need to sit down and think about how can we make a decision to let it ride. I don't know, because sometimes I feel like I have a really good inkling of if I can let it ride and I'm wrong, So I still haven't figured that one out. Surely there must be some sort of an edge that we can use that gives a probability of showing that it's going to continue. That is really, truly predictive. But that would be another predictive signal in and of itself. So then you should take another contract when that happens or something, I don't know. The vast majority of those who succeed in trading are not mechanical, therefore one cannot copy trading. Well, I mean, that's probably true that if somebody's having success that you probably can't duplicate their success. But that's where I say, like, if it's based purely on technical analysis, you would be able to write a strategy for it. It's just that most people probably lack the mathematics and programming sophistication to actually write it. Yeah, most negative expectancies come from random risk and are, so as you said, it would only be a contrary indicator if win rate is always low as well as, yeah. Like if you go in and you backtest a strategy and the expectancy or the profit factor on it is like 0.6, then you could maybe try flipping it around and you might find that it's close to break even. I learned so many things from you, but you don't want to admit that you're wrong about anything. Well, I'm wrong about things all the time. And we talk about things that I'm wrong about all the time too. But it's not enough to just come in and say, Seth, you're wrong about X thing. Especially when there's a good amount of empirical evidence that suggests that I'm right? You understand how this works is you say, here is a thing, here is an assertion, here is the evidence that I have backing up that assertion, and then you say, well, I don't believe that assertion. Here is the empirical evidence that counters that assertion. So what happens is you don't come in and give that evidence. And so then I'm trying to be nice to you guys, and I say, well, here would be some of the empirical evidence that you could give to prove your point and claim that you are right. But they never provide it. They just get angry at me. I'm going to prove Seth wrong that you can exploit the Gaussian nature of... so there's your first problem. Yeah, but without getting broke when fat tails occur. Because that really is kind of the problem. But the issue is that they're not Gaussian, right? Like, if it was Gaussian, it would look like this. And markets are not. They're not normal. They're like this. Markets are not normal. Now, there's Brownian noise. So many people say markets are like Brownian noise. And I've seen a little bit of literature talking about that. But I think you still run into the same kind of issues with that. But here's where with that one, like, that's the thing that drives me crazy is like, is the change of price in markets Gaussian? No, it's not. It's definitely not. Because if it was, I would be able to trade just the Bollinger Band and it would always make money. And that, again, it goes through periods. It's not consistent. What's Brownian noise? So Brownian noise is a type of noise that they use to describe subatomic particles moving around, where you got particles moving and they kind of bump each other. And so every particle can potentially affect every other particle. And I don't really understand much about it beyond that, but they call it Brownian noise. And there's some evidence to support that markets are like a Brownian noise. So you say, I was gonna say that's gonna perk up Blunt, because what Blunt is doing is kind of based on Brownian noise. So what Blunt is doing is he's got a moving average that says, okay, there's a variable that we're observing, and we know that there's a certain degree of error in that variable. Like when I say that the price is 38.62 and a quarter, that's not really actually the price. There's error in that, and so it's using this unobserved variable and our observations of the variable and what we predict the variable should be and how different it is from our prediction to create what is essentially a moving average to predict the price. And that moving average shows some efficacy in that it can get you to break even. But you would still need the rest of the system, because that alone wasn't profitable. But smooth out the chop, because ultimately the issue for a lot of traders is that, like, what actually is the trend? Well, it depends on which time frame you're using, and so that's why we use averages and so forth, is to try and remove the noise. And the issue is this twofold thing, is that when you average things out, you have a better chance of getting in line with the trend, but then you end up being late to the trade. So Is there an opposite to Gaussian? Well, I think there is. What would they call it? A non-normal inverse Gaussian distribution? That's probably not what we are thinking about. Well, that doesn't show us a picture, so. Unless you're aware of leading, I backtested the Fisher, so I will show you the Fisher. Oops, wrong window. What are we? We're at 9:30. I showed you this already, right? What didn't show anything that suggested that it was predictive? Oh no, wait. Did we maybe get 1% off of it? I don't remember now. Have to go back and look. Don't waste time showing me single technical tests. Well, so you can combine them together. Sure, we can combine them together. So you want to use your I'm not going to give the name of it because I don't necessarily want to share that, but it give you that indicator combined with the Fisher transform, and then I can show you what that looks like. So the issue, one of the big issues that you have, and this is an issue with my robots, and this is why I spend so much time watching them and haven't taken them live yet, is because when you're dealing with tolerances of like 1%, you know, that what are the chances that you're just lucky? You know what I mean? It's actually quite high. Anyways, we've done Fisher transform. We can do that tomorrow. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll talk about it tomorrow. How good do you think the best robots are? Well, the best robots are the high-frequency trading algorithms that are putting liquidity out on the field and are using these liquidity models like the Kyle model to trade off of, and their ability to take on excessive risk. And those can be very effective, although when they take a little loss, it's really bad. Okay. I need to go. So I will see you guys tomorrow. When I see Blunt tomorrow, I'll be waiting. And when I see Blunt, I'll be like, okay, let's do the Fisher transform thing. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.